To business professionals across Canada and the African continent, I think that the relationship between the two, when it's forged in the ties of commercial relations, of entrepreneurship, and of sharing skills and perspectives and visions, is incredibly powerful.
Welcome to Afri-Canada Stream, your portal to the heart of transformative Canada-Africa economics. Today, we invite you to step inside the dynamic world of Africa Accelerating 2023, a three-day program organized by the Canada-Africa Chamber of Business. This event brings together visionary business leaders and strategic thinkers in the field of energy, infrastructure, natural resources, financing, and education. Among our esteemed guests are Canada's Trade and Export Minister, the Deputy Prime Minister of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and official business delegation hailing from Kenya and the DRC. Our journey starts with the event centered on the theme, Accelerating Canada-Africa Trade and Investment, People, Partnership and Policies. My name is William Muyuku. And now, thank you again for giving us this time. We know this is the last day of the forum. We'd like to know for our viewers first, can you please present yourself?
Certainly. I'm Gareth Gloor, President of the Canada-Africa Chamber of Business, and I have the distinct pleasure of being here present for this interview. Thank you for having me.
I know for many people up to now, it's not important to present again to introduce again the African Chamber, but in our viewer, there are those who still don't know what is it. You know, there are some people in Zimbabwe or somewhere who are watching us and they still don't know what is it exactly, what are the objectives of Canada-Africa Chamber of Commerce.
So since 1994, the Canada-Africa Chamber has been dedicated to accelerating trade and investment between Canada and African markets. And we're a proudly Pan-African organization headquartered in Toronto. And our mission is to drive the acceleration of trade and investment through world-class events that advance networking and information sharing, because that networking is key to business development, to beginning new relationships, which ultimately lead to new deals. And the information sharing is just to help people with decision making. And I think with an understanding of various markets, especially bringing in guests to Canada, and of course having people from across Canada heading to African markets. We've got Kenya coming up, we've got the DRC, we've been in South Africa, Nigeria, and the list goes on. So that's really what the Chamber is about. It's the convening power of having people together, and we've been very fortunate that in delivering this, we've got businesses who support us, who are willing to sponsor, but also leaders and decision makers in government who come and share their perspectives and what they're doing with people who are making decisions around trade and investment. And I think that ability to engage, or at least understand each other, is very, very valuable and is a key part of the information sharing that is such a key to what we do.
Up to now, from the time you started it up to today, what those fruits that you can say this is tangible, this is a good thing that the Chamber have brought to Canada and to Africa?
Yeah. I think for a lot of people, they speak about at a business level, new opportunities and new markets. I remember the first event that I was a part of in 2019 in Botswana. We had people back in the country 3, 4, 5 times. And in fact, one of the outcomes, Mr. Jacques Ndumtumve, who's with us today, he later was involved in an announcement valued at millions of dollars, which in fact was announced by Prime Minister Trudeau because the significance of that private sector project was so big. And yet it all started by gathering together at a forum like the one we're at today. And we believe, as many people head to the DRC, as I will in February, as an outcome of discussions today, we're going to see a lot more Canadian companies meeting counterparts and vice versa. We're going to see more companies coming from the DRC, and that can be replicated across various markets. So there's no opportunity that I think isn't worth exploring. There's a great openness.
This brings me to this forum of today. What was it about? Which country was it in the front of this, and the theme of this year?
So the theme of this year was accelerating trade and investment, focusing on the role of people, of partnerships, and of policy. And of course, the people are so many of the leaders who have been at this for a long time, right through to the younger generation that's emerging and that's taking up key roles in business. The other aspect around partnerships and policy relates to what does the environment look like in which we operate? What are some of the challenges? And people shared that very openly, coming from lots of different backgrounds, academia, business, public policy, but ultimately the focus is how to generate and drive trade and investment, and how that then serves the aspirations that people have, that communities have, and ultimately the agendas that are set at a much higher level. So today the country that was at the forefront was the DRC. We also had representation from Nigeria. Over the past 3 days we've seen South Africa, Zimbabwe, Lesotho, Ethiopia, and I think it's just a testament to the Pan-African nature of this organization and the deep interest from Canada to serve as a partner of choice. And when I talk about Canada, of course, it's the people, it's the companies, but it's also the institutions, the research bodies who've been so passionate about partnering with the African continent and do so with great humility. I'm originally from South Africa, and one thing that struck me about this great country is how warmly people have been received and how much humility there is in the relationship, in the way we as a chamber and our delegations from the continent are so well embraced in the Canadian marketplace.
Now, as president of Canada Africa Chamber, I know you are in this 100%. I would like to know how the business between Canada and Africa in this year 2023.
So the industries that are strong at the moment include natural resources, but growth as well that's coming in energy, infrastructure, technology. When we're in Kenya next year, which is coming up as well in February, so early in the year, we're going to be focused on fintech. So we're seeing that the industries that exist are growing, but they're also transforming. They're shifting, and they're not what they once were. And so a lot of people may ask the question, well, what are the new industries? But actually, we're seeing a lot of the new industries are just transformations of what has been one way of doing things, and what we're seeing evolve as another way. And one of the key advantages that the African continent enjoys is the ability to rapidly innovate and to adopt technologies at a rate that is seen as much faster than other parts of the world. So that's a big advantage that can apply to any industry. So that, I think, is a huge a perspective that is offered at events like these. And we see examples across the 3 days in the companies that are here with us.
Now, if you can look at the camera and give us your last word, probably is going to be especially for a business person of Canada and Africa. Please, you can look at the camera.
Well, to business professionals across Canada and the African continent, I think that the relationship between the two, when it's forged in the ties of commercial relations, of entrepreneurship, and of sharing skills and perspectives and visions, is incredibly powerful. We've seen projects that have been created and defined, which not only set the tone for Canada and countries across the continent, but actually become benchmarks and models for the world. And so I encourage you, if you're in Canada, join us on our next visit to the African continent. And if you're doing business, consider other markets. And likewise, if you're looking at Canada, if you're wondering about North America, this is a gateway to an incredibly dynamic continent, and Canada itself is willing to receive and engage with people from across the continent in a way that, for everyone who's here that's spoken at our chamber today, it's been nothing short of exceptional. And I think let's see that relationship grow, and let's look at beyond just business and trade and investment, coming together around shared priorities that really demonstrate the empowerment of communities and of people. The Canada-Africa relationship can, as I say, not just benefit Canada and markets across Africa. I think we can build models that stand as examples to the world, and that is what is so special about the relationship between these two fantastic parts of the globe. So please reach out. If I may, I'm going to provide the email address to our team, and that is it's info@canadaafrica.ca, info@canadaafrica.ca. We'd love to hear from you. And on our website, you will see a variety of projects that we have coming up. And of course, to those who want to join and become members, how we determine our programming is by being responsive to what members are looking for. And so you can make a real impact by becoming a part of this, and in turn helping host an event or advance a particular area of economic collaboration. That's how everything that's happened to date has taken place, and it's how we're going to deliver so much more in future.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
What a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you for listening.